Hello and welcome to this second video looking at how to write a conceptualized response, this time using Macbeth. So if we begin, we shouldn't begin with the extract that you need to look at. You need to begin with what you believe are Shakespeare's purposes in writing Macbeth. And you need those prepared in advance of the exam, which will give you tremendous confidence because it means you're going in and you already know what you're going to write about. Well, there are 5 of them here that I've listed for you. We'll go through them, then we'll apply them to the passage and to the rest of the novel. Concept number 1, and conceptualized just comes from the word concept. And so basically we're just looking at the author's concept and ideas. So Shakespeare wants to show that there is no benign God. Benign means somebody who wants to do good. So God is interested in power, but not in being good. We are controlled by God for his own entertainment. So this would have been a dangerous idea in Jacobean times, when everyone was Christian, obviously. And so this perception would be something that was coded, that was hidden in the text, and not absolutely obvious, because otherwise Shakespeare could be criticised by society, certainly by King James. Number 2. Shakespeare shows that evil is punished and goodness is rewarded. So that's an obvious interpretation of this play. Macbeth and Lady Macbeth get punished for their ambition and their evil, and then Malcolm becomes king, and King James is descended from Malcolm, so everything is put right in the world. However, if we go back up to step number 1, you've probably seen in several of the film adaptations is directors sit back and think, well, hang on, Malcolm's going to become king. Sorry, and here I've realised my mistake. James isn't descended from Malcolm, he's descended from Fleance. So if he's descended from Banquo's son, Fleance, how does that happen? Does Fleance grow up to later kill Malcolm in order for King James to carry on in his line? So Shakespeare's playing with this idea that God isn't really interested in good. The succession of kings depends on one side killing another side, one family killing another family. If we look at Shakespeare's time, King James isn't descended from Queen Elizabeth and Henry VIII and the Tudors. And so what he's arguing here, perhaps, is that if God is choosing who is king, and that again is the point of the play, God isn't necessarily interested in who's good. He's quite happy to have evil people become king, and then they would get slaughtered and somebody else would take on the throne. So Shakespeare's quite critical of this idea of the monarchy and succession being linked to divine right, the idea that God has chosen them and appointed them. But at the same time, he doesn't want to show that he's critical. He wants the play to be interpreted as in support of King James I. So he's very, very subtle. Shakespeare shows how Lady Macbeth is a victim of the patriarchal society. So we can easily read her character as suffering from the stress of just having lost a baby. You'll have to see my other videos to find out how we know that's definitely true. If this is the case, if she's just lost a baby and this is her only role in society to provide an heir, she now chooses to become queen at the time when she is most without power. And as a female in this society, she cannot achieve any power other than through a man. And so obviously any woman who's ambitious has to work through the ambition of her husband. We can see that at play in this play, and Shakespeare could be criticising that. And we could take that a step further and say, look, the witches are all female for the very same reason, because this patriarchal society excludes women from power, and the only way they can achieve any kind of independence and power is by turning to other means here, towards satanic means. Yes, they might be evil, but Shakespeare could be arguing that, well, society has forced them into that choice. Then, number 4, Shakespeare shows that regicide will destroy the killer to discourage plots against James I. and this is obviously true historically. That was very much on the minds of people at the time. You know, lots and lots of people thought that James would be attacked. And indeed, he wrote a book about how he was himself attacked by witches who tried to drown him at sea. So it's very easy to have those purposes in mind. And Shakespeare also celebrates the theatre as what gives life true meaning. In other words, this is his way of celebrating his own work, but also why he was drawn to the theatre. And we'll see that at play in this speech. Tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow creeps in this petty well, that's rubbish. Let's start again. Tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow creeps in this petty pace from day to day, to the last syllable of recorded time, and all our yesterdays have lighted fools the way to dusty death. Out, out, brief candle, life's but a walking shadow, a poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage, and then is heard no more. It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. So we've got his nihilism here, that life has no meaning whatsoever, and the person who is orchestrating this tale, God, is actually an idiot. There is no plan that makes sense. There is no goodness at the end. There isn't any heaven. There is just this brief life that makes no sense, and that's why the tale is told by an idiot. And so instantly I can look at one as my interpretation here quite easily. Next we can look at the symbolism in here and the imagery, which is in the last half all about being an actor. So you're a walking shadow, that's an actor. You're a poor actor, strutting and fretting. You're spending all your energy in a useless pursuit. So this is going to fit both meanings here. The actor would normally want to pursue something worthwhile, and Shakespeare is contrasting this to Macbeth's version of the actor, which works ironically in the setting because the audience are enjoying their actors portraying Macbeth and this tragedy. So they'll get the irony there. But we've also got this idea that you mustn't kill the king because you're just strutting and fretting. You're putting all this effort into doing something that isn't going to last. And Shakespeare's reign doesn't last. He doesn't stay king for years and years. His life is also snuffed out like the candle that snuffs out Lady Macbeth. Okay, now this image here of out, out, brief candle is an image of Lady Macbeth. Remember, she's carrying the candle in the sleepwalking scene. She's carrying a taper, and it echoes her language, out, out, damned spot. So he's making a deliberate analogy by comparing his wife to a candle. One, because he wants to show how brief her life was and she's died. But two, it's a really positive image. She had the potential to bring light to their relationship, but she couldn't because of what the patriarchal society did to her. It made her powerless. The only way for her to achieve more power was to seize more control, to seize more power, to become evil. And we can also link that to the idea of the patriarchal society, because in this symbol she's reduced to an object, exactly what women are reduced to in a society controlled by men. They are simply objects that belong to their husbands here. And so by using this language, Macbeth is showing quite how cruel his own society is towards women. However, remember, the audience is made up of people from entirely different classes with entirely different levels of education. And so on another level, to the groundlings, if you like, he's saying, look, evil is punished, goodness is rewarded. This is the message we get every week in church. And that's the same message I'm going to give you. We all know life's like that, don't we? Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. No, it's not. So there you have it. I hope that makes clear how you start with the author's purpose, bring in some elements from the rest of the text to prove that. Here, the text is Macbeth, but it works with every single text, and then you apply it to the specific passage. So good luck in your revision. Thank you very much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more.